Hello, this is Michael Collins and this is Media Focus. And today we are going to be looking at the ideas of celebrity and metanarrative. And we are going to be applying them to music videos. So these are two very closely interrelated topics that you can make reference to in the exam. Now, you do not need to go into them in anywhere near as much detail as I'm going to go into them now, but it is still going to be useful to have a basic framework about what these two terms mean. So, first of all, let's start off with this term celebrity. And I completely have no doubt that you already know what this term means. So let's just take a look at a dictionary definition of this: the attribution of glamorous or notorious status to an individual in the public sphere. So let's just think about this for just a second. Glamour. If you are glamorous, that means that you are fashionable. That means that you are looked at. And that means that you are envied. And the second term, notorious, well, we quite often use this term in a fairly negative sense. So if somebody is notorious, it is often because they've committed a crime. If someone's notorious, it means that they are well known, but it also suggests that they are well known for a reason as well. That they might be slightly edgy, that they might be slightly dangerous as well. And then we have an individual, so a single person in the public sphere. So, a really good way of indicating if somebody is a celebrity is, has your mum heard of them? So that's quite a good way of thinking about it. Are they actually a household name? Now, there are certain people that you might be interested in. They're probably not household names. In order to be defined as a celebrity, you need to have these elements of being glamorous and notorious. Now, it doesn't actually matter if you're actually well known or not, because this idea of celebrity is also a concept as opposed to a straightforward definition. And music videos will often encode this idea of celebrity, will encode this idea of the individual and the performer being better than anybody else, of being glamorous, of being notorious, of being important, and of being well known. So, why is celebrity so very important? Why are celebrities so very important in our culture? Like, what purpose do they serve, and how can they help people in everyday life? So, one reason why celebrities are important in our culture, and this is a slightly depressing idea and a slightly depressing theory, is that our lives are, by and large, fairly boring. Celebrities live exciting and glamorous lives, and this presents audiences with a sense of escapism. It allows audiences to escape into another world where people are almost magical and better than them, which of course raises lots and lots of issues in terms of, the importance of various people. What purpose do celebrities serve? Well, they can be style icons. Certain celebrities, we can base ourselves on them. We can look at them and say, yeah, I want to look like that. I want to dress like that. I want to talk like that. I want to be like them. Okay. So it's just a couple of reasons why this idea of celebrity is so important. It also gives people something to talk about. Now, if I'm banging on about the kind of music that I like, i.e., Swedish death metal and kind of noise music and glitchy kind of, dance music and stuff like that, nobody's going to have heard of these people. Nobody knows, who actually makes this music apart from me and other nerds on the internet. But celebrities allow people to talk about this. So they give audiences this pleasure of social interaction. And all of this comes under the heading of uses and gratifications. So, this idea that we can use celebrities and we can take pleasure at them. So, we might say something along the lines of, oh my God, did you see that new Beyonce video? Yeah, I know. What the hell was she wearing? That was crazy. And then suddenly we're talking about her. So obviously, this increases Beyonce's profile and it allows more people to buy her album if enough people are talking about her. But it also gives us a pleasure and a use and a function in our life as well, because it gives us the pleasure of social interaction and it allows us to talk about that. What other ways can celebrity help in our everyday life? It can also give us a structure for actually living our lives. It can give us something to aim for. It gives us a dream. This idea that maybe at the moment you're a sixth form student, but if you work really, really hard, and if you try really, really hard, and if you get enough followers on Instagram or if you get enough views on YouTube, then you too can be a celebrity. So, what we're talking about now is we've just gone on to a slightly different concept, but this is completely related to this idea of celebrity. And this is this idea of meta narrative. So, a meta narrative is also known as a grand narrative. And this is an overarching narrative or system of beliefs that helps us to make sense of the world. Okay, so meta means essentially about. A narrative is a story that is being told. So a meta narrative is a story about a story. So that's a pretty crazy and kind of self looking concept right there. And we can use celebrity, this concept of celebrity, as a way of making sense of our world. And it's not just celebrity as well. There are lots of different stories. There are lots of different ideas that we use on a daily basis to help us to make sense of the world in which we live in. So we've got a bunch of meta narratives right here. These are different concepts which help us to make sense of the world. So on the top left, we have science, this idea of science. The science is right. And science helps us to live our lives because we have experts who tell us what to do. We can always prove something scientifically. And if we cannot prove something scientifically, it means that it's probably not worth thinking about in general. So, science is an excellent example of a meta narrative. And then, almost completely the opposite in many ways, we have on the top right the meta narrative of religion. Now, religion gives us loads and loads of different rules and ways of living our life in order to make it much, much more simple. So, if we think of Judeo Christian religions, which follow the Bible, if we think about stories such as Moses leaving Mount Sinai with the tablets, well, that's 10 very specific rules that we have for living our life. Thou shalt not kill. Obviously, you would hope that would be a fairly obvious rule. But we have very specifically rules that we should live our life for. You know, we have the teachings of Jesus, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. So, regardless of whether or not you are actually religious, if you live in the United Kingdom, you are following the meta narrative of Christianity. You are following these rules, and many of our rules are based on this idea of Christianity. And regardless of your thoughts on religion, you know, there are loads and loads of good ideas there. There are loads of, you know, really, really important concepts for our own society about lending money, about what we do, about what we shouldn't do, and things like that. And of course, just, you know, in general, just be nice to each other. On the bottom left, we have a really closely associated meta narrative, which is the meta narrative of marriage. Now, marriage is a really interesting one. It's this idea that we live our lives and that we don't have sex with anybody else, and then that we meet somebody and we fall in love with them, and then we get married. And this is a pretty old fashioned concept. And, you know, many more traditional people would still follow this idea. Um, but it's also an indication of how meta narratives change over time as well. I think the generally agreed upon meta narrative is that as you grow up, you will meet people, you will go out with people, you will sleep with people, and then you will find somebody who you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you may or may not marry them. And that tends to be how we see this meta narrative of marriage. But of course, if you do marry someone, that is making a big statement to the world that you love them very, very much and you are not going to have sex with anybody else. And then on the bottom right, we have Karl Marx and this concept, this philosophy, this notion, and of course, this meta narrative of Marxism. Marxism gives us the meta narrative that the issues in our society are caused by the bourgeoisie or the ruling class, and that we, as the working class, have issues with that. And if we do have a problem, for example, if we are poor, it is the issue of the bourgeoisie. It's their fault. It's what they have done to us. And in order to solve that problem, we must fight against the bourgeoisie and we must collect, we must form unions, and we must fight against our oppressors. That is an extremely quick and dirty introduction to Marx right there. So I will go over his ideas in more concept, in more detail later on. So these are all examples of meta narratives. So let's go back to this idea of celebrity as a meta narrative. And in order to think about this, we are going to be thinking about the video for Applause by Lady Gaga. So it's pretty old now. It came out in 2013. And we're going to be drawing specific reference to this video. And we're going to be thinking about how Lady Gaga has been constructed as a celebrity. We're going to be thinking about the visual and technical codes which construct her as a celebrity. And then we're going to be thinking about how can this concept of meta-narrative and celebrity help us to make sense of the world. So what I would like you to do right now is I want you to pause this video and I want you to watch the video to Applause by Lady Gaga. So can you all do that now? Excellent. Okay, so assuming you've all watched that video, let's just have a little think about how this video constructs Lady Gaga as a celebrity. Obviously, it's pretty crazy stuff. It's very much stereotypical Lady Gaga. It's very much what her brand identity is based on. And it really demonstrates, her really interesting and subversive representations of the representation of women. So I'm just going to draw out 4 specific examples. So this is a shot from the initial opening establishing shots of the video while it's still going through the instrumental stage. We have a high angle, almost bird's eye view shot of the performer lying on a bare mattress in an unfurnished room. So this has connotations of things being stripped down, of things being kind of rough and ready, the idea that maybe she is poor, but she is vulnerable. And this is further reinforced by her lack of costumes. So she is only wearing underwear and a pair of leather boots as well. And we have this kind of fairly high contrast black and white cinematography as well. Now, black and white can mean many things. It can mean that it could be used to emphasize the positives and negatives of something. But I think in this instance, it is demonstrating her classiness. It is demonstrating the fact that she is classic and that she is established. So when we use black and white, we often make reference to classic films and classic photography and this idea that is extremely important. Black and white also indicates glamour, and in this instance, it also connotes sexual attractiveness as well. And this is further anchored through the use of high key lighting, which demonstrates the curves of her body. And yet, this is also offset and forms a diametric opposition with the scruffiness of her hair and also the shabbiness of the setting as well. So we have a huge binary opposition which is being constructed here. This demonstrates Lady Gaga as a celebrity as she is confident in her own body and her own skin. She is happy with appearing in her underwear in front of an audience of millions of people. And she is simultaneously glamorous and sexually attractive, while at the same time also being scruffy and disheveled as well, which indicates that in order to become a celebrity, we must be comfortable in our own skin. This shot here is used throughout the video. It is an example of a master shot, although there are many examples of master shots in this video. And a master shot in a music video is where the performer will perform the song, often directly to the camera, and will cut back to this performance shot. This image here was also used for the promotion of this song as well, outside of the music video. So as we can see, it's a very striking image. So we have Gaga. She is in an unflattering position in terms of her sexual attractiveness. Her face is completely smeared with a variety of makeup, and she looks less like a stereotypically attractive woman and more like a work of art, a work of abstract art instead. We have a large contrast again between black and white, so the black of her hat and the white of the sheet behind her. But we also see this element of celebrity, which is reinforced through the fact that it is her again. And we see her time and time again through the music video. And if we see anybody else, the camera does not focus on them. So what we have here is a close-up, a big close-up, we sometimes call this, of her face, and she is looking at the audience. So this is an example of a direct mode of address, and she is speaking directly to us. This emphasizes that not only is she important, but also that she has taken the time out of her day in order to communicate with us, the audience, as well. By looking directly into our eyes with her smeared makeup, this also connotes ideas of confidence and vulnerability. So again, we have the idea of a binary opposition. And again, this reinforces this meta-narrative of celebrity that in order to be successful, one must be confident and one must be comfortable in oneself. This shot here, I'm sure you definitely noticed this one. So this occurs at the start of the second verse. This is her hand bra, as we can see in the background. We have somebody standing behind her. So this is a very kind of theatrical video. We have someone completely dressed in black, and his or her hands are acting as her bra here. There are connotations of sexual fetishism here. There is something very creepy, and there are even potentially elements of sexual violence here, with the black hands coming across her breasts and wrapping around her neck as well. Again, though, her confident position, her direct mode of address, looking directly at the camera, seems to suggest that she is confident and she is in control of this situation, which again reinforces her sense of autonomy and her sense of confidence there. This is, again, another mid shot, which emphasizes her face, her body. It emphasizes the fact that she is hegemonically sexually attractive, and by looking directly at the camera, it also indicates a direct mode of address, demonstrating her confidence and her ability to perform to the audience. It also demonstrates her confidence in surrounding herself with elements of mise-en-scène, which connote fetishism as well. So there is something a bit creepy and a bit, well, very sexualized about this image. While not being pornography by any stretch of the imagination, this is still pushing the envelope as far as a music video aimed at. And we've got to think, one of her target audiences is teenage girls. So this is fairly sexualized for this target audience. And this final image, this is my favorite. Hopefully it's your favorite as well. We have Lady Gaga. Her head has been transplanted onto a black swan. There's lots to pick apart in this image. So first of all, we can't see in this still image. It is a panning shot. Well, no, it's actually a zoom. We slowly zoom in on her, which again emphasizes her notoriety and her importance. She is a black swan, and black swans have symbolic connotation of being special, of being different and being kind of magical, but also being ostracized and being pushed out from society as well. We have this utterly bizarre image which probably made you laugh or made you go, what? And again, this is something which is extremely important to this idea of celebrity, that she is extremely confident and she can demonstrate this absolutely bizarre image to her audience. You might notice she's changed her hairstyle again, so very, very different from in the first image that we've looked at. She now has a far more stereotypically masculine and even boyish haircut, which again creates a binary opposition to how feminine and stereotypically sexualized. You looked at the start of the music video. Her makeup in this shot is very interesting. So we have some very avant-garde, very over-the-top makeup there. And we can see that, this is an element of contouring that we can see there, which is very popular and is often used by drag queens and performers in order to emphasize cheekbones. So it's interesting seeing a female artist using this makeup in order to very, very specifically emphasize her cheekbones there. But again, if somebody walked into a shop wearing this kind of makeup, everyone's heads would turn. People would be like, "You all right, love?" It would definitely turn some heads. And this is something which is really, really important about this idea of celebrity. That celebrities are confident, that celebrities stand out, that celebrities have something which is noteworthy and is extremely important. And just to top it all off, and we see this over and over again throughout this music video, and we could pick out so many more examples, we see a spotlight shining directly onto her head. And the spotlight here has connotations of importance, and it reinforces this notion of celebrity as a viable meta narrative. It demonstrates exactly how important celebrity is for Lady Gaga. She is talking directly to us, and we feel grateful that she is talking directly to us. She forms a bond with the audience later on. She performs some dance moves, which audience members can copy and show back to her when they see her live. And again, this emphasizes the idea that she is a celebrity. The song is called Applause, which demonstrates this idea of a live performance. She is being applauding for this performance. We could go on and on and on. So this video is pretty much celebrity as a meta narrative, the music video. But as we're going to see this idea over and over again in the videos to Riptide by Vance Joy and Formation by Beyonce as well. Okay, thank you very much.